In today's news about how news is total garbage, I'm going to be ragging on the Daily Beast. Why? Well, as you may know, the Daily Beast is worthless. Totally worthless. My God, if you know anybody who uses the Daily Beast as a source, you need to have an intervention for them. You need to tell them to get away, to stop reading the Daily Beast for many reasons, which I'm going to document. Let's start with Barry Weiss, who is the staff editor and writer for the New York Times opinion section. And there was a story in the Daily Beast that called her an MRA apologist, right? That's a men's rights activist apologist. Sure, that's an opinion, whatever that means, it's ridiculous. But then they changed the story to say hate read specialist, whatever that means. Barry tweeted, "This morning I was an MRA apologist. This afternoon, I am a hate read specialist. No correction. Journalism brought to you by Marlowe NYC and the Daily Beast." Yes, because it is a fact that newsrooms will change stories and not tell you they changed the story. Isn't that shocking? You know, when I first learned about this, it was the New York Times that did it. They went in and changed 85% of an article without issuing an update or correction or anything, totally changing the article from an actual news story to an opinion piece. And when I brought this up to the editors at Fusion, where I worked at the time, they said, what are you talking about? That's not a story. And I was like, are you kidding? This link to a story about Ellen Pao on Reddit is now an entirely different story, and it's in support of Ellen Pao. From fact-based, here's what happened, to totally in support of. And they were like, well, don't tell anybody about it because we do the same thing. Yes, it is extremely common for these digital outlets to do this, and they claim newspapers do it too. I don't know how a newspaper can print a newspaper with a story and then come back a day later and change it. That's ridiculous. So this is something that I saw the other day, and I tweeted, "What the ever-loving shit is this? Ben Shapiro is far right now," because the Daily Beast said Bill Maher once again gets played by a far-right troll. Ben Shapiro, far right. Ben Shapiro is not far right. He's a conservative. He's like as run-of-the-mill conservative as you can get. He's not far right. But the Daily Beast says he is, because the Daily Beast is lying. And the Daily Beast knows what they're doing. The people there, they know what they're doing. Oh, don't worry, I have proof. So let's look at this guy, Marlowe Stern. This is the guy who wrote the article, apparently. And he said, Bill Maher's embarrassing far-right apologist tour continued tonight. And it says, over the past year, the supposed liberal firebrand has seen eye-to-eye with the likes of bigoted performance artist Milo Yiannopoulos, Breitbart editor-in-chief Alex Marlowe, MRA apologist Barry Weiss, and NRA shill Colin Noir, I don't know how to pronounce that name, bonding over issues ranging from transphobia to Islamophobia to guns to those pesky PC college kids. Armed with softball questions and weak insights, he's allowed these rank opportunists to exploit his HBO platform for personal gain, casting them as thought leaders instead of the Trump-era trolls they are. Trump-era trolls. Okay, you know what a troll is? Online, a troll is somebody who is disingenuous. They're arguing specifically to get a rise out of you. Ben Shapiro isn't trying to get a rise out of people. He's not a provocateur. He argues for what he's passionate about. He's a regular partisan human being. He is a conservative. He speaks about conservative things he believes in. That's not trolling. So why then? I would say this. I would say Marlowe's more of a troll, because there's no way Barry Weiss is an MRA apologist. That's ridiculous. This whole article calling it's almost like calling Ben Shapiro a far-right troll is a troll in and of itself, because no sane human being actually believes that. I have to imagine the goal is to get a rise out of people. Maybe that's something I should start talking about. Journalism that is clickbaity and meant to get you angry is troll journalism. They don't actually believe the things they're saying. They just want to trigger you. They want you to get angry. They want to troll you so that you click the article and make money for them. Let's look at another story by another pseudo-fake journalist. And this is Kelly Weil, who is ridiculously partisan. And I don't want to say that all of her work is fake news, but this story right here absolutely is fake news. This is from back in October, where there was a protest outside of Columbia where Mike Cernovich was going to speak. And the story says, alt-right frames protesters as pedophiles with fake NAMBLA signs. Okay. When Columbia students denounced Mike Cernovich, a masked man jumped in front of them, raised a child molester banner, and the photo went viral. Even Trump Jr. liked it. Yes, and here's the photo. It says, end apartheid at Columbia, and then you see this big banner in front. It says, no pedo bashing. It's got NAMBLA on the front. It's got the Antifa logo. We don't know who these people are who are holding it up. Apparently, some of the activists in the protest actually supported the banner, like real people. So I have to wonder what makes her think the alt-right framed the protesters. I reached out to the Daily Beast. I reached out to Kelly Weil. They did not respond. I said, I don't understand. I said, can you please tell me, how you confirmed that it was the alt-right who did this? First of all, Mike Cernovich isn't alt-right. Although him and many other people used the term in the past, what the alt-right is today, from an understanding of many news organizations and groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center, is white ethno-statists, white nationalists. They want a white ethno-state. Yeah, Mike Cernovich is not one of those people. You don't have to agree with Mike Cernovich or like him, but first of all, the connection between alt-right and Mike Cernovich is, at the point of this article, it's frail by about a year. It's old, okay? The alt-right has moved in a different direction. Mike Cernovich denounced them. Actually, I believe he held a counter rally to it. He's bashed them time and time again, and he's got a mixed race family, so the ethno-state thing doesn't really work. But let's say Kelly Weil knew, she understands that context, and she's actually saying, no, it was alt-right people who don't like Cernovich either or something. There's no evidence. We don't know who did this. So the Daily Beast decided to write literal fake news without confirmation. This story has absolutely no confirmation. But for some reason, the Daily Beast thought that it would be prudent to write a story about their opinion on what happened and assert it to be fact. And that is what they do. Newsweek does it, the Daily Beast does it. I don't know to what extent Newsweek and the Daily Beast are still connected. They might not be anymore, but they are so ridiculously partisan that I can't imagine what she was thinking. Was she like, oh, it had to have been the alt-right, therefore I can definitively state this. This is trash. So the article starts with, the alt-right framed student protesters as pedophiles on Monday night. Within 90 minutes, even Donald Trump Jr. had bought into the hoax. Now, I genuinely believe it was a hoax, but who knows who did it? It could have been some YouTube prankster. It could have been someone who thought it was funny. It could have been someone who liked Cernovich. Hell, it could have been someone who hated Cernovich, who wanted to trick people into thinking Cernovich framed people. We don't know who did this. But the Daily Beast is trash. So Mike Cernovich, an alt-right conspiracy theorist, okay, he's not alt-right. She needs to research and do fact-checking, because even the Associated Press has a standard definition of what alt-right is, and it refers to those who want a white ethno-state, not Mike Cernovich, was at Columbia University Monday night to give a speech to the school's College Republicans Club, but when students protested outside the event, trolls posed in front of them with a banner promoting NABLA. All right, that's a typo. It's NAMBLA, the North American Man-Boy Love Association, which for the most part I don't think that even exists anymore. But my knowledge of that group it goes insofar as South Park talked about it. Cernovich and other alt-right figures quickly copied a journalist's picture of the sign and tweeted it as evidence that the anti-Cernovich protesters were pro-pedophile. I genuinely believe it was a hoax. I think any sane, rational person would be like, somebody pulled a hoax on these protesters, because the protesters would never do that. Like, Antifa's not going to come out with these banners or anything like that. The issue is we don't know who did it. Well, when you're in the world of partisan fake news, it doesn't matter who did it. You can just accuse someone of having done it. I could just as easily say Antifa stages fake hoax to smear Mike Cernovich. What's the difference? None of these are confirmed. And that's basically what they're doing. The demonstration, organized by Columbia students, was in protest of Cernovich and other far-right speakers at the school. This goes beyond what college Republicans are planning in terms of speakers, yada, yada, yada. It's about Columbia being in the Harlem community. It's how pervasive the idea of white supremacy is and how complicit Columbia to allow such speakers on campus. Basically, yada, yada, yada. Let's find some bits about the story. There were a lot of faces we didn't recognize and a lot of people with their own signs and their own opinions. We were behind the sign and didn't know what it said. Someone said, hey, can you hold this for a second? They were disguised as Antifa. Okay. How do you know they were disguised as Antifa and weren't actually Antifa? Maybe there are anti-fascist pedophiles who are like, let's get our message out in front of these people. Maybe they don't like Mike Cernovich and they also happen to like pedophiles. You don't know. So essentially what we have here is the Daily Beast talking with their, probably with their activist buddies, because, they're all, Midtown-based people anyway, so they probably know each other. And then she writes this story and takes these quotes. The protesters were quick to pick up on the ploy. People involved with these protests are very cognizant about plants, so they realized very quickly what was happening. It was up for about 10 seconds before a couple protesters ran over, explained what was happening, and threw it to the ground and ripped it up. The alt-right strikes... Often Hertz took a picture of the sign and tweeted, noting that it was the product of trolls. Alt-right strikes first at Columbia Cernovich event, plants NAMBLA-branded sign in front of protest march, he wrote. Do you have any evidence? Inside the speech, the alt-righter also accused protesters of supporting pedophiles. He kept saying, you support pedophilia. He kept saying, you just love pedophilia over and over again. I think he's referring to these like New York Times and Salon articles where they were talking about, it was a disorder and not, it's like a normal thing. I don't know too much about it. You know what I did see recently, though? TED, the technology and entertainment and design or whatever, TED, the speeches. They've been pulling this video about how pedophilia is normal. And they're saying they're doing it because the speaker feels threatened or something. But a lot of people think they're just trying to scrub it from the internet because it's really offensive. It's it's like defending pedophiles essentially. Other alt-right personalities like Jack Posobiec and Watson quickly followed suit, with Watson writing an InfoWars post, Antifa activists carry pro-pedophile sign at Cernovich protest. And in under 2 hours, Donald Trump Jr. was buying in. You know what? This is a really long story that doesn't need to exist as far as I'm concerned. Offenhartz, who was still covering the protest, didn't realize for several hours that alt-righters had reappropriated his picture, which he had taken in capacity as a journalist. Okay, Donald Trump Jr. is an alt-right. This article is, when I see an article like this from the Daily Beast, and I've talked about this article in the past, but in the context of the other story, it seems like Kelly is just sitting there really angry at the alt-right, and so she writes all of these things about how she doesn't like them and has no proof of it. This seems to this would be great in someone's personal journal where they can just, write their ranty screeds about how they don't like a certain group of people. But the alt-righters reappropriated this picture. It's like there's not many people in the alt-right, and Cernovich and the pro-Trump people aren't alt-right. So this is just total trash. Anyway, the point of the story is Ben Shapiro is not far-right. This is ridiculous. The Daily Beast is trash, absolute garbage. And I certainly hope you tell all your friends and family members never to read that crap again. My God, what a garbage paper. I think I hate the Daily Beast more than any other outlet because they just lie all the time. Anyway, stay tuned. I'll have another video up in about a half an hour. I'll see you then.